we, so-called black people born here in America, born and bred here in America, we are only ones who are really the true Americans. Nobody else here is an American. No one else here is an American. We are the only true Americans here. I see you, 647. I'm going to take your call. I just want to get let me say my piece, and then I'm going to take your call, 647. You're probably the guy from YouTube who has an issue with the videos, but I'm going to take your call. But as I was saying, we're the only true ones. So black people, so-called black people, were falsely being called falsely being called African American. We are the ones who have the only right to call ourselves American. We did not come from Africa. We are native to America. We go back to the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, the Olmec. That's so-called black people. That is not Mexicans. That is not Latinx. That's nobody but our people. It is not the so-called Mongoloid Indians who are passing themselves off as Native Americans. Those people crossed the Bering Straits. Our people were here in Mexico and Veracruz in North America building the mounds, in South America, all over building Mesoamerica. Our people going from the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, Toltecs. That's black people, so-called black people whose skin is not black. Our skin is copper-colored. Our skin is copper-colored. The so-called Indians, they are not copper-colored people. Now, you see in the description where I showed the definition, the Merriam-Webster 1828 definition of an American, and they tell you right there who is the real Americans, the copper-colored races. I'm going to read it just so you people, and like I said, not that we needed Merriam-Webster to tell us anything, because we know we're the real Native Americans. American, noun, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginal or copper-colored races found here by Europeans, but now applies it to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So the original people are the copper-colored people. That is people who are falsely being called black people. Our skin is not black. Unless you got to go back and learn what your colors are and things like that, our skin is not black. We have a copper-colored tone to our skin. The Mexicans do not. They have a brown tone to them. The so-called Arabs, Eastern, they got a brown tone to them. They have a dingy brown look to them. We have a texture, a sheen to our skin that has a copper-colored look. That's why when they made reference to the copper-colored race, they were talking about our people, because it was a time when we were not referred to as black people here. That didn't really start till the end of the 19th century. Go back and do your research. They didn't refer to us as black people. And first, and even going into the 20th century, they didn't refer to us as black people. They called us colored people. They called us colored. They didn't call us black. That came later when the so-called white man here wanted to establish the caste system, because that's really what black and white is based on, the caste system. And in other words, the people at the top of the caste system are white Europeans, the people who came over here and set up their false counterfeit government that still stands today on Mesoamerican land, which is our land, and they kidnapped our people and took them from here into America and took them hostage. We did not come over on no goddamn slave ship. That's a lie. But I'm going to take your call. I'm pretty sure this is the guy from YouTube. 647, you're on the air.
Hi, Nuben. I hope my connection is okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
ahead. So I just wanted to also remind people, because obviously the Beast has caused so much confusion about this by drawing imaginary lines, but America is the entire geographical landmass of North, South, Central America and the adjacent islands, which they're now calling the Caribbean.
Oh,
so those of us who are native to those places, and especially if we have previously or have had, ancestors who have been enslaved, we're native to this entire region. It's not just what they're calling the U.S. That's an imaginary, border that they've placed upon our land.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. Yeah. And, Mexico, North America, South America, Yucatan, all that was Mesoamerica. Canada, all that's Mesoamerica. And like I said, the only true Americans because even the word American comes from the Mayans, and they admitted that it doesn't come from Amerigo Vespucci. That comes from the Mayans. That comes from the word
Right.
Amariscus, right? Which means when. I forgot what it means, but you can look this up and they'll show you that this land, because I always said this before, that if the name came from Amerigo Vespucci, how come we don't know nothing about Amerigo Vespucci? How come we don't know the history of Amerigo Vespucci? Why do you know about Christopher Columbus and not
Exactly.
Amerigo Vespucci? You know, because
Right.
he took on that name
It was already
Amerigo or
America
Americus.
when Columbus came here.
It was already America when
Hmm.
Vespucci was here. We had a tribe of people calling using the word America or Americus. They was pronouncing it a different way, but then, it became American over time as people heard it. And this guy come over, Amerigo Vespucci, and he seen the natives here, our people, and he wanted to take on the imagery and the culture. He wanted to change his name over, because that's when these people started to come here, these Europeans, these Caucasians, and start trying to mix in with the people and, basically size up land for themselves and start stealing when they come off the ships. But no, they don't have any right to call themselves American. Everybody here in this country is immigrants. The only ones who are not immigrants is so-called black people. We are native to this land called America, Mesoamerica, South America. This is our continent. Africa is for the tribal Africans. We're not tribal Africans, so we have nothing to do with Africa. They want to keep on perpetuating that lie that our people came over here on some slave ships somewhere from Africa, yet they never produced the slave ships. They never showed the records of where we came from. Like I said, they just making up
Right.
stuff.
Exactly.
Hmm. Yeah, so, it is what it is. That's why we're doing broadcasts like that, to reveal us. But listen, thank you for calling in.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so, hold on. Got another call. 980, you're on there. 980. Okay, he went out. Yeah, the guy from YouTube seen one of our videos, probably some Mexican or some Latinx guy, because I was getting on the guy John Leguizamo, the boy Leguizamo, the fake Puerto Rican, who really a Colombian. His father blew him up. The fake Puerto Rican was talking all that Neo-Rican crap and whatnot. He going around talking about trying to claim our Mesoamerican heritage. Again, this is why we have to have the Mesoamerican community. This is why we have to acknowledge our Mesoamerican heritage, which again is really American heritage, because again, we are the only real Americans here. So-called black people who are calling themselves who calling themselves African American. Y'all got to stop falling for this out of Africa theory from the white man. Please stop falling for this out of Africa theory from the so-called white man, because he's a liar. Well, no, I'm going to say it like this. He says that all human life started in Africa, all so-called life. What he really means to say is human life started in Africa. He is correct. All human life did start in Africa. That's the creation. But we are not part of the creation. So-called black people were projected here into this state, in this dimension, within the third dimension. We're not part of the human creation. That's why when the white man always traces back his creation story, and he traces it back, it always ends up going back to monkeys and things like that. Notice they have never given us a definitive origin of where so-called black people come from. Caucasians and the rest of the human race, the Caucasians, the Asians, the Eastern, they all trace their lineage and bloodline back to animals. They'll tell you they were primitive animals, monkeys, went into them evolving from monkeys. This is their story now. They evolved from monkeys. According to the so-called white man, they evolved from monkeys. And Africa is what? It is pretty much a habitation for a lot of animals and things like that. A lot of, animals and things like that, and not native to this land. And so, if they trace their origin and their heritage back to Africa, which again is another way of saying, well, I'm gonna go into that deeper. But if they trace that back, where they believe their origin start, their creation point is in Africa, they would be about right for themselves. That's not true for our people. They want to include us in the whole out of Africa theory, because if they don't include us in the out of Africa theory, then people are going to ask, well, you said that all life, meaning all human life, started in Africa. Well, how come you're not including the blacks? Well, did they include you when they said that black people are not human according to their to their amendment. They go, black people, I think it was one of their amendments, black people only 3/5 human, we not really human. They would say that out, stuff like that out their mouth. So now we agreeing with them. We ain't even saying we 3/5 human. We ain't no human, period. We a whole nother species of being. We are the almond race. We are not the human race. And like I said, I stood up and backed it up. I don't care how it sounds to people, whatever. We're not what these so-called humans are, the Caucasians, the Asians, the East Indians. And like I told you before, there are only 4 races on the earth, right? 4 definitive races. I told you, it's so-called black people. Now, I say so-called black people because our skin is not black. It's so-called black people, so-called white people, so-called Asian people, and East Indian people. If you are not part of that, if you are not a part of any of those races, then that means you are a subclass or subdivision of those races. You are a mixed breed of those races. And when you start talking about Mexicans and so-called American Indians and whatnot, that's what those people are. Your Mexicans, like I told you, and your so-called Native American Indians, right? Your so-called Native Indians, they're nothing but Asians and East Indians mixed. They're part of the people that crossed the Bering Strait. They are not Native Americans. They have no right wearing the name American. They are not the Aztecs. They are not the Incans. They are not the Mayans. They are not the Olmecs. That's black people, so-called black people, who are falsely being called African American. I told you before, the reason why they called you black people was a sign that they were trying to block out our heritage, our Mesoamerican heritage, and give us this BS about us being African, man. That's all that is. They're trying to hide our heritage. They don't want us to know that we are the true Americans here, the real ancient Americans, the people that built the first civilizations, the oldest civilizations on earth here in this land. Our people have been in this land for thousands of years. Factual. And our people we have the proof to back that up. We got the proof to back it up. The Latin X's, they ain't got no proof to back up a damn thing. All they doing is going off of some fake history of the white man. He ain't even got the proof to back that up. That's why you don't know nothing about Mesoamerican history or ancient America, because they know ancient America is full of black people, so-called black people. And then the white man turns around and lies and says, oh, we don't, and not just them, again, the mound builders and things like that out here in North America, those are all black people. Those are offshoots of the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan, advanced people here in America. We, as so-called black people, so-called African Americans, are really their descendants. We do not come from Africa. We do not. And like I said, I know a lot of you Pan-Africanists, you got a hard time swallowing that, and y'all want to still be up here, because y'all want to hold on to the white man's out of Africa theory. Yeah. Again, civilization started here, but human life started there. 2 different things. Civilization and life are 2 different things. Civilization means societies, architecture, farming, structure, things like that. Yeah, that started here. It didn't start in Africa. It started elsewhere. And again, even that whole thing of all, because you're not talking about civilization, even that whole thing of how old the civilizations, you got the Middle Eastern civilizations, you got America, these are all old civilizations. There's no African civilization that's old. So-called African civilization, there is not. All the civilizations that's old are our civilization. See, the problem is, the white man has been equating our name and connecting our name with Africa. So as soon as you hear something African, you automatically think, oh, that's black people. The minute you hear something, the word African, you already automatically think, oh, that's black people. You see? And we got to get our head out of that whole African thing. Stop thinking that way. Because like I said, the white man going to tell you African, but then Charlize Theron or a bunch of Caucasians that came into South Africa from damn Holland and New Zealand and wherever else they come from Europe and these other places, who came and took the land over from the people. Our people over there in South Africa, they took the land from them, and now they call themselves Afrikaners. And they was at one point telling the people that's native to that land, our people is native to that land, oh, y'all ain't really from here. Y'all come from someplace else. That's what they was doing. So much for your whole out of Africa theory, and we supposed to be African, because like I said, the white man could come over into a country and make himself what the people are just like that. Look how he came over into South Africa and made himself a damn Afrikaner. He just forgot about his Dutch and Holland and Dutch ancestry, just like he did here in America. The white man forgot about his Scottish and French and Irish and English, which even all those places was at one time inhabited by so-called black people. I told you, there's not really no stretch of earth, livable earth on this planet that has not been inhabited by so-called black people at a time. Ireland was inhabited by black people before the Caucasians came. These people were in caves. They were in caves. They were dirty and filthy. They were covered in hair, or what they call hair, which really was fur, because, like I said, they were evolving out of that animal mindset, that animal mindset and mentality, and just trying to evolve out of that. And again, these caves, man, and they tell you, do they not refer to themselves as cave people? They refer to themselves as the caveman, the cave woman. They tell you about that part of their history. So now when I bring that back to you, how are these people forming civilizations and societies? Don't tell me, oh, they come out the cave and now they just setting up civilizations and societies. It don't work like that. Oh, well, they just evolved or they just started doing. No, 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 no. It don't work like that. See, when people so-called evolve and grow and start doing more than what they previously did, it's because they were influenced from someplace else. They had to have an influence. Miss me with the nonsense about, oh, and their brain, they just evolved out of nowhere. No, it don't happen. Things don't happen out of nowhere. They always happen from somewhere. You just don't know the origin in which they're happening from. But these people, they have an origin that is not from this society. Again, your Caucasians, they were in the caves, the Caucasus Mountains, the Caucasus mountain range in Europe that stretched over Europe and into Asia. You see, your Caucasians are even Asiatic people. That's why they have the word Caucasian. Caucasian. They come from them Caucasiatic mountains that stretch across Georgia, Russia, and Europe and into Asia, because these people were in the caves. All right, and our people were living in these places where they eventually moved down into. Our people were living in those places and inhabiting those places, and we wasn't calling ourselves no damn Africans. You see, we didn't know nothing about no Africa. You Negroes got to get y'all head out the white man's ass with this whole out of Africa theory, man, because it's nothing but a theory, and now his theory is being debunked, man. His theory is being debunked. You found older civilizations older than Africa back in Sumeria, and especially here in America. So if you have older civilizations than Africa civilizations and everything else, then that kind of trumps your whole out of Africa theory that, because in order for you to have life growing and flourishing in someplace, you have to have people bringing in inventions and bringing in, certain ways of doing things that's going to advance the life of a people. That's when you could say, oh, these people have come from here, grow from here, come from this spot and this, that, and third. You don't see that with Africa. You don't see that with Africa. See, like I said, that's the whole out of Africa theory that you accept from the so-called white man. You see, that's what you accept about the whole out of theory from him, which is a lie. They want to keep on promoting the lie. Like I said, this is why they don't talk about the ancient Americans, because trust and know, if the ancient Americans were Caucasian, if they were Caucasian, you'd be hearing all about the ancient Americans. They couldn't stop telling you about ancient Americans, the ancient white Americans in history class. They would definitely be a part ancient America if they were Caucasians back then. If the Olmecs were Caucasian, Asian, East Indian, you would hear about them. Hell, if they was really Mexicans and Native Americans, you would hear about them. But they're not. See, the white man makes up these false images of these so-called Mongoloid Indians being the Mesoamericans. That's how low these people are to deprive us of our true heritage, deprive us of our true civilization, our true roots, which is Mesoamerican, not African. You see, this is how low and stinking these people are. But like I said, the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out. You see, they came before Columbus. Strange faces in America and whatnot, ancient faces and unexpected faces in America, and I could go on and on. There are plenty of books that speak about our origin and our way of life here in Americas, way before the white man came here, way before the Mongoloid Indians came here and crossed the Bering Straits. The Asiatic people came over here. We was here. Before anybody came, we was here having civilizations, societies, building civilizations, societies and things like that, farming and doing everything, living, like I said, living as a people. living as a people, living as the real Americans, the true Americans, the first Americans. Like I said, Merriam-Webster told you. They told you the truth. You know, that white man, like I said, they probably, when that definition came out, they wanted, you know, as time was passing by, they wanted to just basically, you know, dead that whole thing because, again, this could not be describing the so-called American Indian because there is no such thing as an American Indian. All you seeing is an East Indian slash. I'll say it like this. Well, I guess you can call them American Indians. Let me take that back. Yeah, you can call them American Indians, but they're not Native American. They're not native to America, but they are American Indians. They are the Asiatic people that have East Indian blood in them who came over into America. So I guess you could call them American Indians who came into America, Indians who came into America, East Indians slash Asians that came into America. And now y'all try to pass these people off as the real natives. And that's not correct. That's not correct. Passing these people off as the real natives is what buries our history. And they've been trying to bury our history. That's why they call us black people. They've been trying to bury our history. And you know what? Like I told you before, these Pan-African Negroes, right along with the white man, who are complicit in telling this lie to our people that we part of this whole out of Africa theory, this theoretical nonsense from the white man. They try to make it seem like this is something we should accept. But I'm here to tell you this is not something we should accept as a people because it's a lie. Our heritage is being stolen from us, and like I told you before, if it can be proven that the so-called Mexican Latino X and the so-called Native Americans were really the Olmecs, Aztec, and Inca in the Mayan, you would hear all about them in American history class. You would hear about theme parks about them. But because they're not that, because the white man knows these are niggas, these Olmecs, these Aztec, these Inca, these Mayan are niggas, and they're not from Africa, he know damn well that 9 times out of 10, if you was born in this society, you are their descendants. The white man go as far as to lie and say, oh, we don't know what happened to these people. They just like disappeared. We don't know. They just disappeared off. I'm like, wow, really? Really? So what you're telling me is this is the answer the white man gives to what happened to the descendants of the Olmecs, the Aztec, and the Mayan. What happened to those people? Now, one minute he says that the so-called Mongoloid Indians are the descendants. Then it turns to, oh, well, we don't know where their descendants went. They just disappeared. Which one is it? You know why they got to give that answer? Oh, we don't know where they descendants, or because they know, and they know emphatically that that heritage, that culture belongs to us here in America, not no Africa. That belongs to us here. And like I said, I know it's going to fall on deaf ears for a lot of you Negroes that want to, you know, do your thing and head off to Mama Africa and wherever the hell else you want to head off to, because you bought into the whole out of Africa theory. The lie. I know you want to push your dashikis and your beads and your little shishi foo beads and all this other crap. But listen, man, we ain't got no time for y'all lies and y'all BS. I mean, realistically, like I said, the only ones who should be allowed to call themselves Americans is black people, so-called black people. They're the only ones who should be allowed to call themselves American, black people. Because I told you that's the same thing as if say, an Italians in Italy, what if black people all moved into Italy and said they the Italians now, how would they feel about that? How would the Italians feel about that who've been in that area all that time? How would the Italians feel if we all of a sudden came into Italy and said, oh, you know what? We the Italians now. They'd be like, y'all better get y'all black asses out of here. And you know what? They would have every right to say that. The Italians are white. The Italians are white. They're Caucasians. The Irish, that's like us now coming into Ireland as so-called black people, coming into Ireland, and we saying now we the Irish now. I wonder how well that would go over with them. How well would that go over with them? It wouldn't go over with them. It wouldn't. They'd be like, get your black ass up out of here. And they put on their clan robes or whatever they gonna put on, go get their guns and run you up out of Ireland. You see, Irish people are white. Same thing with Germany. You so-called black people go over to Germany now. Try telling people you German. They'll say you a German citizen, but they won't say you German because that's a nationality. That's a nationality. They're not gonna say you German, just like I'd look stupid saying I'm Italian because I live in Italy. I could be an Italian citizen, but I can't be Italian. I can be an Indian citizen, a citizen of India, but I can't be East Indian. I could be a citizen of China, but I can't be Chinese. Y'all follow what I'm saying? So it should follow the same line of thinking because the so-called white man came here from Europe or wherever he come from Europe, or the Asians come over here, or anybody come over here, they don't have the right to call themselves American because American is a nationality. That is, see, they don't want you to know or look at America as a nationality, like same as French, same as German. They don't want you to look at that as a nation. They treat those like nationalities. The Germans are white, the Italians, the Irish are white, like I said. But when it comes to America, everybody is open for everybody to use. No, it is not. No, it is not. No, it is not. The real Americans who have the right to call themselves American are black people. That's the Americans. That is the Americans. Again, Americans are black. So-called black people. That's the Americans. And we are not African. They want to make Africa now. See, the white man, he wants to make Africa synonymous with us. But then Charlize Theron is allowed to say she's African American now. The white man is allowed to say that, all life started in Africa, and technically he's African now. He said that. So, again, what is ours? What is ours? What nationality is ours? The white man, leave it up to him. We don't get to have our own nationality. We gotta take whatever he give us, and then when he give it to us, when we was all pumped up on the whole African thing, we was like, yeah, we African, we got our dashikis on, Pan-Africanism. Then here come the white man. Oh, well, all life started in Africa, so you do know we all African, right, technically, and that's why we got rights to the land over there in Africa. That's why the Asians could go over into Africa and different countries in Africa and take over, because they go over there as Chinese. They go over there as Chinese representing China. They go over there to invade and take over the land of our people, because it's still, again, resources coming out. And when I say the land of our people, I mean we are related to the tribal Africans. We're related. They're relations because they got our genetic material, but they're not close relatives, man. They're relations. Hell, if that's the case, the so-called white man and them are relations. The humans are relations to us, but they're not our relatives. We're not relatives. We're not blood. We're not family. They are related to us, but we're not blood. We're not family. The only real Americans are so-called black people, because we were here first. Thousands and thousands of years ago, we've been on this land. First people on this land. There was no record of anybody else here other than us. As much as the white man wanted to lie so bad and claim that the Vikings were here. And let me tell you something. The first Vikings were black men. The first Vikings were so-called black men. And I say so-called because we're not black, but I say just for all essential purposes so you have an understanding what I'm saying. I say the so-called black man. The so-called black man knows the truth. The so-called black man, he is being told he's African and not American. Notice now the white man just starting to use American. He's just starting to use American. They trying to cut ties with where they came from, but that is not right. You shouldn't be able to cut ties with where you came from. If you have a Scottish background, a German background, or whatever, an English background, a Italian background, then you are Italians. You are Spanish. You are English. You are all these things, but you're not American. You are not American. The first and only Americans that stand as the image and stand in the image of our ascendants, right, who went up into that higher space, that is knowledge that's given for our people. You see, that's knowledge given for our people. And we, like I said, the guy that came on YouTube who wanted to call in and listen, when I already knew you weren't going to call in. I'm already halfway to the show. I put the link on the page for the last Mesoamerican video. So if you want to call in and you want that smoke, I got all the smoke in the world to give to you, because we're not backing up one bit about our Mesoamerican history and heritage here. We ain't backing up one bit. That's why I started, like I said in the last broadcast, I started the international Mesoamerican community just so it's known that we are the Mesoamericans, meaning the first Americans, the ancient Americans, the only real Americans here. Like I said, if Italian is synonymous with the so-called white man, if Irish is synonymous with the white man, if English is and Scottish and French and Danish or whatever else is connected to the so-called white man, then that's what he is. Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, Taiwanese, and all these other different Asian cultures are, native to these people. Then they got no right claiming America. I don't care if you shouldn't be allowed to call yourself an Asian American. You shouldn't be allowed to call yourself a Italian American or Irish American and whatnot. They want to throw the American on the back burner because that's our heritage. That's our roots. They want to put their heritage and their nationality first and throw them, oh yeah, American, we are Irish American, we are Italian American, we French American. You're no American. You are no American. You are just what you are. You are Dutch. You are Swiss. You are Irish. You are English. You are Italian. You are those things. You are those things. Stay in your nationality. Stay in your national lane. You are citizens of America. You are not Americans. American is a nationality that is supposed to be connected to so-called black people. We are the Americans, and it's supposed to be an American language. American is supposed to be an American language. We are the only Americans here. Everybody else came from someplace else. And I don't care who don't like it. We are the only Americans here. Why do you think they treat us like hell in this country? They treat us like true natives of this country. The racism, the prejudicial behavior, the bad treatment at the hands of all these different races here is a sign that we are the native people. That's a sign. Everybody else is immigrants. See, they get on there, they come together, and they Voltron in the name of their immigrant backgrounds, and that's how they take hold in society, and then they start trying to pass themselves off as Americans, and they are not. That's how they start to do that. They start to pass themselves off as Americans, and we sitting up here going for it. We actually believe that the white man can call himself American. We actually got the nerve to, no, you set up an American government, but that don't make you American. You're not a Native American. You're not an American by nationality. You're not. You are wherever you came from, and all you Caucasians could be traced back to Europe. You are not American. You are hijacking a name that has nothing to do with you. You are trying, and you so-called Latin X's and all, you're hijacking a history that has nothing to do with you. You see, you don't want to hear the real truth. You want to hear what the white man has taught you all these years, and a lot of you guys get bent out of shape because I'm not regurgitating the same bullshit that the white man did. Regurgitating that bullshit that black people are native to Africa, and all the rest of the earth belong to the white man. He can go anywhere else and call himself whatever he wants to call himself, and that's what it is. We African, and then we can't even get to be African by ourselves. We can't even get to be African by ourselves. You see? You know how many white people you got living in Africa? You see? They got white people living in Africa. They calling themselves African. So much for your whole black people is associated with Africa nonsense. They really don't want our people associated with nothing. They definitely don't want us associated with our true heritage here in Mesoamerica, our Olmec, Aztec, Inca, Mayan, and Toltec heritage. They don't want that. The first people that was here, the only real Americans that are here. And again, they turn around and say, "Oh, well, we don't know what happened to them. They just vanished. They remain. We just see their what they built, but they as a people just vanished. We don't know what happened to them." Oh, really? Oh, really? You don't know what happened to those people? How about you calling them African Americans and black people? That's what happened to them. How about you lying to them, telling them that they come from Africa and whatnot, when you know damn well they really from here in America, right where we at. That's where we from. Because these people went out of the way. They went out of the way. I'm talking about the white man went out of the way. And a lot of cities, remember I said they went out of their way in a lot of cities to get so-called black people to start referring to themselves as black, because prior to that time, we was referring to ourselves as copper colored or sepia tone. We wasn't with the whole black thing. But see, the knowledge of that didn't come, and how it fits in, it didn't come until this time. Because a lot of you so-called black men, you wanted to be hoes in the system. You know, you wanted to be whoremongers in the system of the beast. And he always shows you, you know, he always shows you why these people are truly considered to be the way they are. He always shows you how these people try to take on and covet somebody else's heritage and history. That's what they do. They try to take on and covet somebody else's heritage and history. Remember, I got on them Latinxes. I got on their ass, the Latinxes, the John Leguizamos. And you're going to have some of these so-called Native American Indians come out the woodwork too, I'm sure. You're going to have them come out the woodwork, but they're not going to tell you about their true heritage, their true origins. They only want to stop at America, where they came to, but why don't they tell you where they came from? Why don't the so-called Native American Indians tell you where they came from? Forget about you coming into America. Where did you come from? Forget about your time here in America. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? And please don't say, oh, well, we native to this country. This is our home. You're a liar. You're a liar. This is not your home. You crossed the Bering Straits. You are East Indians. You are Asians. Like I said, if you stand an East Indian up next to a so-called American Indian, 9 times out of 10, you won't even know the damn difference. You won't know the difference. If you stand an East Indian up next to an Asian, you ain't going to know the difference. All right? So think about that. Think about that. This is reality here. We're not playing no more. We ain't sugarcoating no more. We just straight stand up. Because like I said, a lot of guys, like I said, they talk around the Mesoamerican and the American reality of who we are. But I'm the one that's standing up for it all the way. That's why, again, I had to start the Mesoamerican community. Had to replace the black community, to replace the so-called African American community. That's an insult to us to call us African American. That's an insult. That's not only a lie, it's an insult, because they know damn well we not no Africans. Because, see, with the immigrants want to always have the power to send you back where you came from. That's why they tend to embrace immigrants, because immigrants got somewhere to go back to. We as so-called black people got no place to go back to, because we're actually on our homeland. See, we have not been standing on our homeland and been in charge of our homeland for so long. That's why you so-called black men, like a lot of times you trying to release some energy and power. That's why you niggas will start fighting over stupid stuff, and you want to dominate and fight each other, because you're really trying to build back up that spirit energy, that energy in you to turn solar, so that you can get out here and brawl and do what you got to do. That's really why you got to do that. You ain't doing it to look good for nobody. You doing it because, like I said, y'all want to align yourselves. You want to align yourselves with the reality of who we are. That's why all the world wants to be like the so-called Mesoamerican black man. All the world want to be rappers and hip-hop people. They want to be like the Mesoamerican black man. Right? They want that. They want to be like the Mesoamerican. They want to be like the Mesoamerican black man. We the ones that made America popular. We, as so-called black people, really copper-colored race, the bronze race, which, again, I only refer to them as black because you got to, just for, so people understand, just so people can understand. And most of the time, we already know that the mass majority of our people are slow mentally, because you've been slowed down and you drank the philosophical juice of the so-called white man. So y'all just basically now believe whatever he tell you. You believe whatever he tell you. You believe that. And he always shows you that that no matter whatever you try to do for these people or connect to these people always show you in the end that you're really not their people, and it's a hard pill for a lot of you coon ass Negroes to swallow, man. Because y'all really want some white friends or some Asian friends or some East Indian friends because you really want access to their women. That's the only reason why you want to be friends with these people. Told you Israelites, I blew y'all up. Y'all don't care about no Mexicans and no Latinos. They talk that shit about, oh yeah, our Native American brothers. They are not Native Americans. Those people are not Native Americans, but you call them Israelites. And the only reason why you call them Israelites to call them your brother because y'all want access to their women. You want access to the Latino chick down the block or the Mexican girl up here or the damn whatever. You see, you want first dibs on the street trash. You see, you want that on the damn street class. You see, on that level when we come into that highest state of being, into that highest state of intelligence, that highest state of thought, we know who we truly are as Americans. Again, they treat us like natives here. Natives are always going to be the people that are deprived of resources. They're going to be the ones that are deprived of resources, be it food, clothing, shelter. And like I said, we've struggled a lot in this society ever since the so-called white man took over. We've done nothing but struggle. Done nothing but struggle ever since the so-called white man came into power in America. You see? And like I said, that's a sign that we are the true Native Americans. We are the real Americans. That's a sign. Because anybody that's trying to take what you got, anybody that's trying to replace you, one of the biggest things they'll do first and foremost is they'll try and erase your history. They'll try and erase your history. So, of course, it took a minute before y'all found out about the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan. That wasn't supposed to be found. You were supposed to have come across that by mistake. You know. You were supposed to come across that by mistake and then just act like you didn't see it. Like I said, they treat our people like the real natives of this land, because whenever you got conquerors, invaders, gentrifiers coming into your area, into your land, into your district, what are they going to always try to do? They're going to try and supplant the people. They're going to try and get rid of the people. And the same way it's going on here in the society, and this in Bed-Stuy and all this other stuff, the same way it's going on is why things are the way they are. That's why. Created this false narrative. And now the false narrative is being exposed. People are creating a false narrative. And we have to expose the false narrative. We have to stop allowing people to lie about our heritage, about our history, about our culture. We have to stop that, man. You see, this is not right for us as a people, who we are as a people, what we're supposed to represent as a people. You see, we are the only real Americans, and we should be speaking an American language. But I had to connect us to Mesoamerican because, I don't want to, being that the white man has pretty much shitted all over the name America, dragged the word America through the mud, American through the mud. He shitted all over it, and now he wants to try and, clean it up and hand it out to these immigrants. I told you, I gave the analogy of Italy. I gave the analogy of Japan and China. I gave the analogy. So that should be enough for them to understand. So they ain't doing nothing wrong. That should be enough for them to understand. So slow as they are, but it should be enough for them to understand. If there's no room for you to understand, oh well then. A picture says 1,000 words. And obviously people don't want to go with the pictures they're being shown. People don't want to go with the pictures they're being shown. And why is that? Why don't people want to accept us as the real ancient Americans, the Mesoamericans? Why don't they want to go with all of those pictures where you can clearly see all of these images of so-called black people that do not look like Africans, so-called black people who look like the people of America today, so-called black people from the ancient world who look like our people here who are being called African American today? Sound like somebody reclassified us. Could it have been the same people who, at gunpoint and sent police to in places like North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, forced our people to refer to themselves as black, forced our people to refer to themselves as Negro, as African American. Could it have been these same people who sat up here and tried to force our people to accept these false titles, to accept these false identities? Could it be the same people that want to hold back the fact that we are the real and true Americans, and they're trying to step in our place? Whenever you see characters like Superman, when you see characters like Batman and things like that, those are all characters from ancient Mesoamerica. Well, I know Batman is, and Black Panther, and all that stuff like that. All that's from Mesoamerica. When you see the colors red, blue, and yellow, that's all Mesoamerica. The white man took red, white, and blue and trimmed it in the yellow, and because they were basically taking our heritage. They were taking our identity. They were trying to replace us. That's what the white man does when he comes into your society. That's what all these people do when they come into a different society. They try to replace the culture. Or should I say they try to replace the image of the people, the original people. And that's all they did here with us. You've seen it 1,000 times before. They come in and they gentrify / colonize our areas, and next thing you know, they talking about, oh, see, we the Africans. See, we're really the Africans. Yeah, they don't know where they came from. Them so-called black people come from. They'll do stuff like that. I just proved it to you. They'll have no problem just assuming somebody else's identity. They have no problem whatsoever. They have no problem assuming somebody else's identity. You see? They have no problem with that. And because they have no problem with that, because they have no problem becoming us and being us and trying to take over our image and become the Americans, like I said, a good thing we had your Merriam-Webster. Now tell all you so-called black people, you really do copper-colored bronze people who are falsely being called black. We even got to drop that whole black thing. That whole black thing has to go out the window. I keep pushing that. Stop being black people. Please stop it. Our skin is not black. It's not cool. It's not cute. Going forward, 2020, 2021 and above, we should stop with the whole black thing. We're bronze-skinned people. We're bronze people. We're not black people. We're bronze people. We're not even brown people. We can't even call ourselves brown because I told you who the brown people are. The brown people are the damn Mexicans. The brown people are the Arabs. The brown people are the East Indians. Those are the colored race. We're the copper-colored races. You see, these people didn't even exist over 500 years ago. Mexicans didn't even exist, or what they're calling Mexicans. Now, if you want to take it back to their origin as East Indians and Asians, then go ahead and call them what they are and make them accountable and native to what their land is, and that is India, and that is any place in Asia, wherever they crossed over the Bering Straits. Make them accountable for their own heritage. But you cannot turn around and tell our people that we are so-called African when you can't trace us back to Africa nowhere. You can't trace us back. And the so-called Africans don't want our people over there. They already got that mindset that we're not the same people. That's their mentality. That's their mentality, that we're not the same people. And you know what? We're not. We got no problem with just saying it. No, we're not the same people. We're not the same as the Africans. We're not the same as the other races of people who claiming the human. We're not part of none of this stuff, man. We are our own self collective. We are our own nationality. We are the Americans. We are the Americans. We are the Native Americans, the Mesoamericans. We are the first Americans here. And we are the only ones, so-called black people, falsely being called black and African American, are the only ones who have a right to the name of American. We are the only ones that should have a right to the name American as the first people here, the first people to develop culture here, the first people to develop farming here, the first people to develop civilization here. We are the only ones who got the damn right, man. And like I said, for you clowns who want to sit up here and claim some other false heritage and false identity and false society, go ahead and do your thing, man. Go ahead and keep trying to claim Israel. Keep on trying to claim Israel. Africa, some of you niggas with Europe, man. Y'all keep claiming that. You see, But like I said, how would the white man feel if you went into Italy and said, y'all Italian now, you Negroes went in there talking, y'all Italian now, they'd get together and kill y'all and get y'all up out of there. You see, but you allow these Caucasians to come over here and call themselves American. You allow them to come over here and call themselves American. And like I said, they done got so slick with it. They trying to erase the origin of where they came from, and now they just say, "Oh, we the Americans now." That's stolen identity. That's like us coming again, going to Italy, and we say, "Oh, we the Italians now." We don't know what the hell them white people are who was calling themselves Italian, but fuck them. We're gonna take their identity. That's really what you're saying. That's what they did with us. We're gonna just take on their identity. We're going to become these people. We're going to become the Americans. We're going to create this false history of Amerigo Vespucci, whose the name America came from, which is a goddamn lie, a big, bold-faced lie. And then I brought it. I said, well, if the name came from Amerigo Vespucci, then why do y'all celebrate Columbus Day? What are you celebrating Columbus Day for if America was actually named after Amerigo Vespucci? Why don't we know more about this man? Why is he not taught in history? Because y'all know the more and more you dig on Amerigo Vespucci, you're going to find out what his true name was that before it became Amerigo, what his true mission was, what he was doing, what was his whole. Y'all don't want to really go. Y'all know about Amerigo Vespucci, but y'all don't want to put that information out about him. You don't want to put out the information about Amerigo Vespucci. You want to just keep America was named after him. That's all. That's all. Why don't you tell the real truth about Amerigo Vespucci? Why don't you tell the real truth about the word America? Because, like I said, they don't want to link our people to anything other than a bunch of tribal foolishness and nonsense, and basically push our people as being mentally inferior, socially inferior. You know, we couldn't think on that level of build high-rise mound structures and things like that in cities where people lived in. They wanted to make it seem like, oh, we couldn't have thought of nothing like that, but we did, and we did it. We had cities before the white man came here. There were cities. There were regions and things like that before everybody came here. And now they got the nerve to say, well, we don't know what happened to their descendants. You know damn well what happened to our descendants. You know damn well. You know damn well what went into our ascendancy, into our bloodline. And like I said, it's okay that happened. It's okay that they eventually smeared our nationality, smeared our heritage and whatnot, hit our heritage. That's fine, because now we're rediscovering it, and it's even more beautiful because we don't have to wait on them to give us anything to just rediscover us. We're already doing that ourselves. You see? We're already doing that ourselves. We are the real Americans, the only Americans here, because the first is the real and only. The first is the real and only ones. We were here in America first, and we did not come from no Africa. Our origin is here in America. We were projected from on high into America. We were not projected into Africa. You see? And like I said, you can keep on pushing the out of Africa theory all you want to. All you doing is digging a hole for yourself. You so-called Caucasians who keep pushing the out of Africa theory, all you doing is digging a hole for yourself. Because, like I said, they already exposed the truth that Sumeria and Mesoamerican civilizations are the older civilizations. Not on that. The white man didn't have Africa, no country in Africa on that chart. You see, no country in Africa. So obviously, if there's no country to mention in Africa where they have that sort of connection, what are they saying? What are they saying? What they're saying is that they are not the people of this land. They just told you that. Merriam-Webster told you that. They are admitting that they're not the people of this land. You see? But like I told you, the fact that they don't show you or teach you ancient American history, Mesoamerican history, why, if this is America and you teach an American history, why not teach all history of America? Why only teach that when you came here and you start taking over the land, you want to just go with that part? But why don't you do world history or do the breakdown like that and explain it to them? But you ain't going to do that. You're not going to do that. And we know you're not going to do that because you guys are phonies and frauds. And a lot of you Pan-African guys, you clowns, like I said, we already know you on the Caucasian payroll. You on the Zionist Caucasian payroll. A lot of you Pan-African, you niggas are agents, man. You boule niggas are agents. When I put that image up there, Joe Biden, and he in the damn church. You see who was up there in the church with him, right? With dashikis on. At least 2 niggas was up there wearing a damn dashiki. You see, these old niggas too. Old niggas with dashikis on. So what they're basically telling you is they were willing to accept the lie. That's what they were telling you, that they were willing to accept the lie that we was Africans. You see, they drank the Kool-Aid for real. They accepted that whole Pan-African cult mindset, because that's all that Pan-African shit is. That's nothing. If you want to talk about something that's cult teachings, that's cult teachings. Pan-Africanism is cult teachings. Talking about some damn ancestors and Oshun and Ogun and all this bullshit. And all the ancestral worship and the Ogun, Oshun bullshit, all this spirit nonsense. No, I give a very clear and definitive reality of who we are as the Amun race, as a species of lords, a race of lords, flesh and blood, and that our ascendants are an extension of that race of Amun, that blood race and whatnot. And we come here, and we are the Americans in this day and time. See, we give it distinctive stuff. You know, we're not giving no cult teachings. We ain't talking about them spirits the spirits in the sky and the spirits in Mama Africa and all that nonsense, man. Damn foolishness taught to us by a bunch of boule Pan-African ass coons. You see, that's what that was brought to you by the boule coon ass African American network. They should do a network like the boule coon ass African American network, and they could have nonsense on there like Roots from Alex Haley. Goddamn sodomite, you see, and a liar and a plagiarist. And you know the so-called white man is still promoting Alex Haley's Roots. They still promoting that shit. They still promoting the lie. Why they ain't gonna come out and say, well, this wasn't really Alex's story. It's really some obscure white man. You see. But like I said, every dog has their day. All reality eventually comes out. You see, every lord, all lords, I should say. I'm saying every lord has their day. You see, at all the lords will have their day. You see, and you have to always keep that in mind. That you have to keep that in mind of who we are, what we came here for, what we were meant to be. Again, you keep that in mind. It'll always keep you from getting caught up and trapped up in this matrix, in this three-dimensional realm of lies and confusion and nonsense. That's what it's put here for you to do. That's what it's put here for you to do, to believe a bunch of lies and foolishness and stupidity and teach these same lies to your children and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. I've proven time and time again who the true Native Americans are, who the only real Americans are, and that's our people. We are just where we was at thousands of years ago. We still stand on this land. Again, I don't care how much the white man try to, in his dream, he want to, make us go away. He wants to cut down the population, all this stuff. So we got to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of all the traps and the tricks that the beast tries to set up for us when it comes to our nationality, who we really are. So I said we refer to ourselves as Mesoamerican, just so we know, it's known that we are the ancient Americans. We realize that we are the only real Americans here. You see, that's why it has to be like that. I was wearing a red, white, and blue shirt. It was the colors of the was it red, white, and blue of the American flag, and some other things, and some gang nigga, he gonna try to get in the picture or something, I forgot, but he's talking this 5% shit. I'm like, nigga, all right, keep that in mind though. We are coming closer and closer to our nationality, We have to have a nationality. We have to have a nationality, and it would be beautiful that we could take back the name American. But I said we got to use, unfortunately, because you got a lot of people coming here, idiots coming here, and instead of wearing that ring, saying, "Look, we are citizens. We are citizens of America." That's what they should be. The Caucasian, the white man, the East Indian, the Asian, they should be like, we are visitors and citizens of America, and we're not the real native people here. The real native people here, are so-called black people. The real Native American people here are so-called black people, you see. And some of them will tell you the truth. If you push them enough, they'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you, they know about how our people were kidnapped, free people were kidnapped and forced into slavery. They know all that. I told you, they know every last bit of what happened. They know all of that, all the accounts of what really happened, how men at gunpoint kidnapped our children, took our people, hostage, to take them in for that and keep you in that slave mentality. They keep you in that slave mindset. Okay? So you have to ascend beyond that. Again, like I said in the last video, I started the Mesoamerican community so that our people could come home to a real community where our heritage, our real heritage, our true heritage is being reinstated into the world. You see, we came back stronger as the Amun race. While our societies fell in the ancient world, we came back stronger. And, that was meant to happen over time, that the true essence of who we are is going to come through. The true essence of what we were meant to be is going to come through over things that other people are saying. The true essence of us is going to come through. The true reality of who we are is going to come through, and it's going to shine through very strong. And whereas we're not going to be sitting around here trying to, get people to accept us anymore, we're not going to care about that anymore, because we know we are the real Americans, the real Mesoamerican. Like I said, I would have loved to just been able to use the word American and not, I'm cool with the Mesoamerican, that's cool, but I thought, shouldn't it just be American over just Mesoamerican? It should be just American. But like I said, we can't do that right now because there's too many people that'd be like, oh, well, see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so we really need to acknowledge, who and what we are as Americans in this day and time. We got to stop letting people make us feel like we guests in our own home. See, that's what has literally happened. We have allowed people to make it seem like we guests in our own goddamn home, and that has to stop. This is our house. This is our house. We made America what America is, not nobody else. All the white man did was come here and put a government together and whatnot, cobble together a government, and he basically started, set himself up in power over everybody else. You see, but again, it's not for him to set up a government or society in this society. It should have been us doing that. It should have been us putting together the government, putting together a government of law and order, and we should have made sure we didn't let these humans come over here and stay amongst us, these Caucasians, these Asians, the East Indians. This America, or Mesoamerica, is our continent, our country, our base of our nationality, America. And like I said, I know you so-called Pan-Africanists, this is making y'all cringe because y'all bought into this red, black, and green Pan-African out of Africa theory, which is straight from the Caucasian Zionists. Like I said, and y'all bought into these lies, man. And what history have you bought into? You bought into, oh, you was just swinging in trees and beating on drums and doing some Shango, Ogun, Oshun dances and whatever the hell else y'all talking about. Y'all basically bought into nothing. And meanwhile, you leave real, verified, real verified heritage behind that can be proven through the structures our people left behind, from the images they left for themselves, and you can see that's truly our people. These are not no Africans. And again, the white man can't explain these people. You see, he would love to explain away all these black people, these so-called black people who are in ancient America, because according to him, we didn't get here until slavery. We didn't get here till slavery. You see, that's what he wants to teach. So he don't know how to handle seeing ancient so-called black people in the as the Mesoamericans. They don't know how to handle that. You see, because they had so much invested in this out of Africa theory that we were a bunch of primitive savages in Africa swinging in trees. You see, this is the heritage and culture that you so-called Pan-Africans want to grab onto, because everything else y'all done come up with in the society is based on some false lie of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism has to be replaced with Mesoamericanism. Pan-Africanism has to be replaced by Mesoamericanism. Because, like I said, the people that were born here in the Americas, North America, South America, Mexico, all those islands and whatnot, the Yucatan, all this stuff, Nicaragua, we were all the way down in Nicaragua, man. You see? We inhabited those lands before all these other people came here. You see? And like I said, the only real American is a so-called black man and black woman. We're the only real Americans by nationality. By reality, we are the real Mesoamericans, the real Native American people of this land. And we need to start acting like that. We need to start acting like and being like that. You know, no matter what it means or what it costs, we have to start living out that life. If we don't start living out that life, then, like I said, we have no life to live. We have no life to live if we don't start living out the reality of who we are, who we came here to be. We are the first civilization builders, society builders. That's us. No one else. We built here in America first. And the white man came across us just like the East Indians crossing the Bering Straits came across and saw our people building societies and civilizations. You see? But like I said, a lot of y'all on the, you know, y'all on the American juice. Y'all juicing. You know, y'all on the joy juicing. Like I said, whoever the white man's calling American right now, y'all going with that. What you see, and they show you in Merriam-Webster's dictionary that is a theft of identification. When they tell you that the word American applies to the original copper-colored races of this land, the Native Americans of this land, y'all go, okay, cool. But then y'all going to turn right back around and call yourself American. Y'all should have called yourself something else. You should have called yourself something else. Caused a lot of, you would have stopped a lot of confusion and a lot of pain and heartbreak by being combative to our true heritage, our true roots, which is American. Again, I know that's a shock to your system. That is a shock to your system because, like I said, y'all tied in with the African thing. That is the strongest form of brainwashing, this whole African thing. Remember I told you there was whole programming that went down, whole slaughter programming, mental slaughter, where they was pushing us as Africans from roots to I forget the Mother Africa movies, connecting our people with Africa, lying to our people, forcing them our people to call ourselves African Americans and black and Negro. You see, told you before, we basically resisted that for the longest time until they started coming at us with gunpoint and trying to force us to give up our heritage and our history. I told you in Chicago, you got white people excavating along with a lot of other races of people with their mounds out in North Carolina, South Carolina. They're excavating these mounds, and in one of the documentaries they showed that when they excavated the mound, these people stealing things out of the tombs of a lot of our people, man. A lot of our people use them, some of them mounds as tombs for the important people. What did the white men do? They broke into these places and they were stealing whatever they could steal off of these people, as they always do. They take what they want to take. If we let them take that. Let's not let them take Mesoamerican away from us. Let's not let them take Mesoamerican away from us. They already kind of took American, but over time we're going to get American back. Because like I said, it's going to come a time where everybody's going to have to go back to where they came from. If you originally from Scotland or England or Ireland or whatnot, then that's where you from. I don't care if you came into America and you trying to get a new lease on life, like you Caucasians say, you trying to get a new goddamn lease on life. Fuck your lease on life. Fuck your goddamn lease on life. Your new lease. Your new lease is stealing our fucking heritage. Raw and uncut. You see, nobody's gonna sit around here and try to, just stand down and, and just let you gallivant around here calling yourself American, raising up some goddamn American flag or some damn Confederate flag. All that's bullshit. That's all bullshit from the English flag. Those are English flags. Those are not American flags. Those are English flags. You look at the flag, the British flag. That's all that is. This just y'all trying to do your little remix of the British flag. But see, we ain't going for it. We're not going for it. You see, the real Americans are not going for it. You see. The real Americans are not going for it. The real Americans are waking up. The Mesoamericans are waking up. See, that was all cool how y'all was claiming y'all was American because, see, we ain't know who we was. But, see, now we woke up. We woke up. You see. It's going to come a time, like I said, where we're going to be using American again. The Meso going to drop, and we're going to be the face of America. We're going to be the Americans. And there's going to be an American language. But for now, we Mesoamerican. We keep the Meso just to differentiate ourselves. Just to differentiate ourselves. To let them know, because Mesoamerican, we're going to always keep our Meso. We're going to keep our Meso around just to let people know our link is to our ancient Mesoamerican ancestors. But no, like I said, any given time that Meso could drop. And God damn it, it's going to be known who the real Americans are. And an American language, and who's falsifying and calling themselves American. You see. Who's falsifying and referring to themselves as American. But we got Mesoamerican for now. That's what we got, and we're going to keep that. Okay? It's important that we know that. Why is nationality important? Because I could just state on the fact, yeah, we the Amun race, we the Mentalians, and like I said, that's powerful, that's important. Yes, it is. That's futuristic, yes. But, what did I say? We have to know who we were and where we came from before we can go to where we got to go. We have to know where we come from, what our heritage is, what our true history is. We have to know that. Why else? What else? Like, how do you go to a next place when you don't know where you're coming from? How do you go to a next place? How do you make entry into the next place when you don't know where you come from? You see, these people want to forget where they come from. The white man want to forget where he come from. The Asians want to forget where they come from. The East Indian, all these people who are here on our land, calling themselves American, raping this goddamn land, coming out here bringing their filth and their degeneracy to this land, because that's all the white man really brought to America. Let's just be for real. The only thing he really brought to America was a bunch of filth and degeneracy. And rats and roaches and all kind of other shit that came over here, all the other kinds of filth that came over here. Rodents, all kinds of stuff he brought over here into America. You see, diseases, sexually transmitted diseases, just regular everyday disease that was what we consider to be regular everyday disease now, which was like foreign to us. Damn smallpox, chicken pox, all these pox. This is a disease of sick people, sick and cursed people. They couldn't wait to get up amongst our people and start stealing from our people, start taking land from us, like they always do. And then when you take the damn land back, all of a sudden, oh, why is this happening? Why are you doing this, that, and the third? And I told you, don't make it seem like that's impossible, or that we was on this land first and the white man came and took this land at gunpoint. Ain't that what they did over there in Tulsa, Oklahoma? They did it in Tulsa, Oklahoma, didn't they? They took the land by gunpoint in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they still on that land today where all them black people own that land. They still on that land in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They ain't talking about giving back that land which these people worked for and bought. They wasn't part of no criminal enterprise. This was land that they owned. So why is the white man, the government, and them not giving back the land to the people who are the descendants of those people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who owned that property? Why are they not getting their land back? Because it's the same reason why. Because really, the white man looks at that time as an invasion of Black Wall Street. That was really meant to be an invasion. And you know, when you invade people and you take the spoils of the war, when you take the spoils after you invade the people, they ain't trying to get that back. They need to stop trying to pass off that attack on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma as just some random mob. No, the government was helping them. The government was helping them. They was flying over in planes. Who gave them planes to fly over? And this is at a time where planes were barely being used. You see? Planes were still fairly new. So who gave them planes to fly across there and gave them guns? They ain't going to just start doing that. They were given the license to do that. They were given permission to slaughter our people and to take whatever they had out there, because our people were prospering in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the same way when they came here, they seen our people prospering, growing food, living well, being able to take care of themselves, having land and stuff like that. They came here and they saw that our people were nice people, good people. We accepted everybody, and they basically used that. They use that to their advantage, to take advantage of our people and become our people, usurp their authority and usurp their identity and take away what was theirs, their land, their culture, their everything.